Hi, thanks for coming back and joining me. In this video, we're going to talk about your back end. No, not that back end. When I look in the dictionary, I think it was the Oxford Dictionary, the definition of back end was the furthest point away from the front end, which is totally perfect because if we think about our clients are our front end, right? They are the frontward facing part of our business. And our back end is like that secret drawer or that crazy closet that we pray nobody ever opens, right? It is the stuff we shove away and we just pray it works for us. In my experience, there are three typical things that go in our back end. When we are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs, the things that we push behind us as far as we can tend to be either something in the finance space, something in the legal space, or something in the technology space. Even if your business is about financing, legal stuff, or technology, still those items go to the back because when you think about showing up for your client, you have your branding, your logo, you have your professional attire, you have all of your slick marketing materials, and you don't necessarily talk about things in your back end, right? Those are the secret things that we should talk about with ourselves in our CEO meetings, but we're going to talk about them now as a way to elevate them in our understanding of a business because our business is just not the front facing, right? Our business is just not what our clients see, just like your body is not what your clothes show. You have organs and blood and veins and arteries and all kinds of stuff inside you can't see, and they're very important to your body, right? So when we think about the back end, when we think about those hidden things in your business, maybe they are these three things, maybe they're totally different. But these are the ones in my experience, most of my clients really do not spend enough time dealing with. So we're just going to touch on them one by one, and there will be worksheets in your workbook about each of these areas and a collection of questions that you can ask yourself. Because if there are questions that you don't have the answer for, or you don't know even how to find the answer, that's exactly something you can put on your list of things to do in your CEO meeting. How do I identify key performance indicators in my business? Or what are my terms of service? Like if somebody buys a product from me and uses it, can they return it? Or if they buy it from me, they don't open it, can they return it 6 months later? I don't know. What does your terms of service say, right? In terms of technology, do you know all the ways that your systems and processes support a new client that you might meet at the grocery store and you say, check out my website. I have a free downloadable checklist for you to solve that exact thing. Just go to my website and download it. And so they go to the website, they can't find where to enter their email. When they do find it, it doesn't send them anything. And so your back-end system, your customer journey, your funnel, for example, is not complete. It's not functioning. Right? So we need to spend time making sure these three buckets, which tend to go to our back end, get some attention. They need a little bit of TLC because the last thing you want is to have a financial crisis, a legal crisis, or a technology crisis. None of those things sound good. So in terms of financing, I want you to think about the key performance indicators that support and inform your business decisions, such as a profit loss statement. Do you manage one? Do you have one where you write down all the income that you make and all of your expenses every month so that you can track how things are going? If you need to increase your revenue or if you need to decrease your spending, this is a perfect form to keep on track of those different amounts of money coming in and amounts of money going out. Your operating cash flow is how much money moves in your business every month, right? So this isn't necessarily your bigger investments. This isn't your savings. This isn't your loan. This is your more liquid assets of cash flowing in and out of your business. So how do you manage that? And are you tracking that at all? And the third indicator, which is one of hundreds of indicators depending on your business, is just your growth of sales. So you started out in January in your business and you had one sale. Do you still have one sale in February, March, April, May, and June? Or are you growing? Have you been growing at a 10% rate every month, but all of a sudden you have dropped down to 1% growth, right? When you track your sales, you're able to see, is my reach getting bigger? Are my clients returning? Are there, am I tapping into referral markets and testimonials and, customer word of mouth? Am I rewarding my clients that are sharing my business with their friends, right? So watching your sales growth allows you to check in with how is your business doing in the marketplace. It really is like a temperature in the marketplace about how things are growing for you. If your sales are still growing and things are looking healthy, then you don't need to implement new strategies unless you want to. But if your sales growth is in a negative space, or if it's completely stopped altogether and you're flummoxed about what's going on, your CEO meeting is absolutely a time where you would say, I need to look at what's going on with my sales. I need to look at my messaging, my marketing. I need to look at any feedback from my clients. Maybe all of a sudden what I'm providing doesn't meet the needs of the market, right? Think about the beta machine versus the VHS machine. And I don't even know if people on this video are old enough to remember that, but there were two competing systems, right? And one won out and the other one absolutely disappeared. The Netflix and the Blockbuster example, right? People who were investing in Blockbuster thinking, oh my gosh, there's thousands of stores across this country. This isn't going anywhere for this little red box that's being parked outside the pharmacy. All of a sudden, somebody could have recognized the writing was on the wall and the sales were dropping at Blockbuster. Things were happening. We need to look into this, right? Because if you don't, it could be disastrous. So below are a list of other metrics for your finances. Now, you can track virtually anything and everything, and it can feel overwhelming. If you are not in a finance business, it will feel a lot. It will feel very heavy for you to all of a sudden be tracking 45 different things. Let's not do that. Let's pick the most important indicators for your business, the metrics that matter the most today. When your business continues to grow and you can hire somebody and you have a bookkeeper or an accountant on board, they would then track more things. But for you by yourself, please just find the 5 to 10 most important tracking components in your business and focus on those. So you can gather the data and just look at the trends. Perhaps you gather the data on Thursday afternoon and you map it, and then Friday morning in your CEO meeting, you check which way the graph is going. And if something has happened in your CEO meeting, you can explore that. Please don't get overwhelmed. It's very easy. The next one is legal. So unless you are a lawyer or in the legal field, I absolutely recommend you do not do all of the legal pieces on your own, because the laws are complex, sometimes contradictory to each other, and you don't really know what the standard practices are in your industry unless you are a lawyer studying that as your job. If you are knitting mittens for kittens, if you are providing, home-baked cakes, if you are building websites, you don't necessarily know what all the legal pieces are for your business. So I have included a list of the most common legal documents and legal considerations for your business. Depending on your business, if you deal with food, if you deal with animals, if you deal with children, if you deal with the elderly, if you deal with other people's money as in some kind of investment space, if you deal with going into other people's homes, like a home inspector or a massage therapist or a housekeeper, you have different legal requirements, and that will inform your insurance and your liability and your privacy policies. It will determine if you need extra certification or licenses People who work with children in food need different licenses than people who, cut grass. It just, everything is different. So please, this is not negotiable at all. You must figure out your legal components for your business to make sure you are in compliance and being super responsible, not only to yourself and your clients, but to your family, because you could enter into a legal disagreement and really lose your house, lose a lot of money, right? Put your family at risk. It is not worth it. So please, if you have not spent time in the legal space, let's do that. So we need to talk about in your business, obviously legal structures, terms of service, your rights and responsibilities, your liabilities, your privacy practices. If you have clients in Europe, they have a different online requirement for privacy where you have to make sure that they are very clear on the privacy requirements that they're signing up for by being a member of your membership group in the US, because there are different compliances over there. So please don't walk this path alone. Get support for sure. I don't want you getting in hot water. I don't want you being in winter and losing your business and losing, your happiness and your chance at joy because this was neglected. The third back-end system that most people struggle with, unless you're in a tech field, is technology, right? So if you do any of the businesses that we've talked about at all, which are not technical businesses, you will honestly struggle with all of the pieces, the hundreds of pieces of technology and technological know-how that go into running a business. It is astronomical. And yes, many of those systems are there to make our lives easier. But when you have to design your graphics in Canva and upload them into PowerPoint and then transfer it over here and then put it on a thumb drive and then, integrate it into your presentation and then put it up on a screen, even doing this video, putting it on an SD card, getting it into a video, attaching my slides, if technology pushes you into winter, it is really important for you to either hire someone who can help you or find a way that you can trade services with someone who can help you. Perhaps you have a young student in your neighborhood or your own child who is technologically savvy, who can help plug some of the technological holes in your business. But you have to understand your hardware and your software needs. You need to understand invoicing and billing and payments, because you are in business to be paid. And if you cannot tie your email list or your products online with a payment structure, you can't get paid. And that's really hard to run a business. Your website, your digital presence, your email management system. If you meet someone at a networking event, are you taking their business cards and putting it, in your bag and hoping you remember them in 6 months? Right? Or are you getting them really integrated into your email system so that you can email out people that you meet and invite them to have a call with you or to work if there's a partnership or maybe there's a client relationship there that can be nurtured? What are you doing with the people that you meet? How are you integrating them into your systems? So this is really a very intense module. I get that, because you need to think about your finance side, your legal side, and your technology side. But what I'm hoping is that you recognize, okay, I have some holes, I have some gaps. I'm gonna prioritize the most important ones first. And then I will do a version 2 and implement the next level of things. And then I will implement the next level of things, right? So maybe you don't have a website right now because you don't have all of your legal documents worked out. You don't have your privacy policy, your terms of service, you don't have your business insurance, for your online privacy worked out yet. So maybe that is something you hold off and you just work on social media. Maybe. Or maybe you hire somebody who can help you work that out. And that is an investment that you're willing to make because you know the power is in getting people to your website, to watch your videos or to buy your products or services, right? Only you know where your priorities are going to lie. Only you know what your resource list is. Maybe your brother-in-law can support you. Maybe your sister, has access to the things that you need. Maybe your mom was a lawyer and she can actually help you do the things, right? So you know your situation, but I want you to think about these 3 back-end systems specifically and understand what does your business need to move forward. Because if you are constantly in fear of running out of money or being tripped up legally, or that your systems are going to fail you and your technology is going to embarrass you and alienate your clients, you cannot be in summer. You cannot be in summer. So to avoid the winter path, the slippery slope to winter, think about these 3 things in relation to your business and work through the worksheets and identify what you can fix on your own, what you can fix quickly and inexpensively, and then what is going to need investment. And then you get to decide when and how that happens. Because I want you to be in summer, but your whole business needs to be in summer. Don't just have a beautiful front-facing system and then your whole back end is in shambles. Because your customers will know, your clients will know that your back end is a mess, and they will worry about trusting you. They will worry if you can actually deliver because your back end is a mess, and they'll know that. And I don't want that for you. So best of luck in this module. Yes, it is a lot of work, and I know you can do it. Really brainstorm out your list, prioritize, and just start tackling each one. Good luck. See you soon. Bye.